Okay, this is week 2 of Dr. Anand Chakalingam's Elevating Consciousness class. I would love to turn this over to Dr. Chakalingam.
Thanks so much, Jennifer and Peyton, for helping us through Osher to do this first ever series where we are trying to talk about elevating consciousness or understanding life and finding meaning through the Heartful Living clinics that we've had here now since 2015 in Columbia, Missouri. So thanks to our Osher friends and our friends from India and elsewhere who joined us today. We'll go ahead and get started. I've once again shared the link for people who haven't had a chance to do the survey to go ahead and do it. You can mute us the next 10 minutes. Once you're done with it, you can join us back. We are not going to do too much except maybe practice some mindfulness in silence. That's all we are planning to do. So those who can catch up with the survey, this would be the best opportunity. Those who haven't done that yet, we'll let you take off, place us in mute, and you can close out the videos and just work on the survey if you haven't done it. For the others who already done the survey, we'll start this few minutes of meditation. So sit back as much as you can in your chair, as far behind in your chair as you can get back comfortably, and then feel your feet on the floor. Feel the relaxation in your feet. Feel the relaxation in your legs. Feel the relaxation in your back. Sit up straight. Feel the breath in your chest. Relax your shoulders. We'll bring our attention to the breathing. Thoughts will keep coming. That's part of nature. So just gently try to bring your attention back to the breath. You can feel it at your nostril as the breath comes and goes. And that's all we're going to try for the next 5-10 minutes. Just relaxing. Relax the shoulders, relax the face. You can close your eyes. You can keep them open. It's up to you. But gently try to bring the thoughts back to the breathing. That's all we are trying to do. We'll start meditation. Good morning once again. Jennifer, can you hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you great. Maybe try and also hold up your speaker and see how that sounds too.
Good evening to our friends in India. Good morning to our friends in the US. Thanks so much once again for joining us. We'll continue a little bit with the discussions, and then in the next 15 minutes, we'll present some slides for about 20-30 minutes, and that would still give us about 30 minutes at the end for more of discussions. I'm seeing many people are more fresh after the meditation. The first, let me share my slide. I told you we're going to talk first, then I'm saying I'm going to share my slide, right? Do you see the slides yet?
Right now we see your Zoom Windows screen. Yes, we can see it now.
So this is the topic for today. What makes us human? Exploring the shrinking distinction between humans and lower life forms. Is there really anything unique about people? So I was working to put together the material for this, and about 3 days ago, one of our participants is an amazing professor who shot me an email saying, wait a second, forget about what you're going to talk. Your title itself has a problem. So this is what he said. The flyer you sent states lower animals. This is not correct by development and evolutionary biology. We have assumed and called ourselves Homo sapiens, which means wise man. We are men, all right, but there is no evidence at all that we are sapien, that is wise. Evolution is a tree and not a ladder. There is no higher or lower species according to developmental biology. We contain multitude of other species, particularly so many species of microbes. Their number actually exceeds our 37 trillion cells in the body. We cannot exist without them. We co-evolved with them. We need them for our survival. I suggest that you replace the word lower with other life forms. Thanks, Professor. So we'll open up for questions, discussions on just this title itself. Anybody wants to go? We're going to keep it very brief so that others will get a chance, but we want to hear as many people as we can.
Feel free to either raise your hand to speak or unmute yourself, or even type in the chat if you have anything to say.
Many people are still meditating. Nobody wants to say anything.
Well, as on an individual basis, I don't think we're all that unique. If you want to look at intelligence or tool use or all the other things that tend to be talked about. However, as a species, I think humans are extremely unique because of how we operate at scale. I see all the other species mostly that are very cooperative and benign in nature. They take just enough to eat and survive, and they don't do strong damage to their environment. Humans, on the other hand, are greedy. Many are greedy. We organize at scale. We gather more than we need. We continue to expand. We are very destructive to our environment as we're experiencing climate change. In my opinion, there's a good chance that we are destroying the whole earth because of how we act. We randomly kill other species instead of killing to eat, where in nature, the predators tend to take the weak and the young, and they leave the strong. We go after sport hunting so we can take the strong trophies, but we don't play fairly. We use advanced weapons. So in our technology, nature tends to survive on personal power. So they develop their own pecking order, but on a personal level, which limits how they're able to scale maybe in the size of the group that they can control. Humans, on the other hand, use technology and can scale to control large groups, like we get our dictators then. So yes, in culture and things, I think humans are very unique, but I don't think it's a positive thing. I'm embarrassed about it.
Thanks so much for very nice insights. And anybody else?
We have 2 comments in the chat. Mark and Sue Dickinson said, I agree with the professor. And then we also have a comment that says, agree with our coexistence with other things. What makes us different is how we are advancing and taking control of other things. Whether this is good or bad will be known in times to come.
Excellent. So we are actually philosophers, biologists, psychologists, doctors. We are all thinking how or whether there is really any big difference that uniquely special to us, or whether we are just part of the natural world that as just now beautifully put, we've sort of come together in very, very powerful ways, and much of it can potentially be damaging to the natural ways of life. So once we have that much extra power compared to the rest of the existence, we have to take that responsibility to be more mindful of how we move forward. So thanks so much for the valuable comments. One other thing was that poem. Did you have that YouTube you could play for us, Peyton, on if?
I have the poem. Would you like me to share that, or is there a YouTube video that goes along with it?
You didn't see that? Okay, that's fine. I might have sent it to you. It was by Michael Caine. I think he's the one who read it on YouTube for like a 2-minute video.
Yes, I can pull that up right now really quick.
Oh, do you have that, Peyton? I didn't see that anywhere.
No, but I can find it.
Oh, great. Just wondering. Okay, I'll look in my email too while she's doing that. I didn't see anything from you, but my apologies.
Rumi, sure. While you're looking for it, I'll go keep talking. Rumi is a poet, Sufi poet, about 700 years ago, I think. What he says about consciousness is consciousness sleeps in minerals, dreams in plants, wakes up in animals, and becomes self-aware in humans. I think that's a beautiful way where he is saying consciousness also is not very unique to us. So that's another thought that I just came up with from Rumi. And
all right, I found the video, so just give me a second and I will pull that up for everybody and then share my screen so that we can watch it.
So this was written by Rudyard Kipling about 100 years ago, and few years later he won the Nobel Prize in Literature for having such beautiful thoughts. He is suggesting how a human being should ideally live. So I shared it with you in an earlier email, but we are going to play it again as a recent recital. Thanks, Peter.
You're welcome. All right, let me share my screen. And here we go.
The Kipling poem is one of my favorites since
Sorry, just a second. I don't hear the sound.
So I was a boy at school. My father read.
Let me try a separate video. I don't know why this sound is not working.
Peyton,
Sorry
we can
about-
hear the sound.
Oh,
It's
you
working
can?
fine.
Yeah,
then
we
I
can hear the
just-
sound. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. For some reason, I can't hear the sound. Okay.
The Kipling poem is one of my favorites since I was a boy at school. My father read it to me once, and I think it to me as a little boy it summed up what a man should be. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowances for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies. Or being hated, don't give way to hating. And yet, don't look too good or look too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can hear the truth you've spoken twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life for broken, and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at the beginning, never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are done, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 40 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
Anyone wishes to make a half a minute comment?
how this makes a difference, or how we can aspire to make our lives in those lines. Thanks so much, Peyton, for sharing that.
It's very profound, but we'll have to watch it again.
You can Google
So,
it. It's available.
yeah,
I
I think Jennifer has sent the link, so
Yes.
I will watch it again.
Yes.
But it's really something
says-
that, you know.
In summary, it says how we need to find that balance to work hard, but not be too worried about even the outcomes of our efforts.
Isn't that the crux of Gita, the Bhagavad
Yes,
Gita?
yes, that's also the crux of Bhagavad Gita. It's been said
Yes,
for thousands
like,
of years.
you know, you work, but don't worry about the the result. Yeah.
And Rudyard Kipling says, find that energy to keep moving, even if the odds sound very difficult to surmount. Excellent. So we'll go ahead and present some slides for the next 30 minutes, after which, again, we'll have plenty of time for discussions. Can you see my slide as a full screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So what makes us human? This is the discussion for today. So this is what I shared with you. Consciousness sleeps in minerals, dreams in plants, wakes up in animals, and becomes self-aware in humans, says Rumi. This is our professor who wished that we should not call anything as lower animals, since we are all part of nature. And this is the poem that we just read from Rudyard Kipling. So we've changed the title, Exploring the Shrinking Distinction Between Humans and Other Life Forms. Is there really anything unique about people? What makes us human? My disclosures are High Life Journey, which is a non-profit online program that helps anyone improve their heart health through resilience and self-inquiry. Seeking Hunger is a book encouraging self-inquiry. And I am an advisor for the Cardiac Wellness Institute by Priya, my sister in Chennai, India. So this is again the results from this weekend. Our own participants who answered in our survey, and this was the first set of questions was on how optimistic we are. I'm always optimistic about my future. That's what majority of our group says. This is a really, really optimistic group that we have today. Same thing as far as feeling down, depressed, or hopeless. A small number do have challenges, but majority have a very good mindset as far as risk of depression is concerned. And this is for anxiety. The third set of questions, again, we see very resilient group to start with. But we do see some people on several days worrying more than they feel they need to. And we will see today what we can do about these things. Compared to my peers, I consider myself more happy. Again, we got a good number of people saying they are on the happier side of the spectrum. This is excellent. And this is the last set of questions that deals with gratitude. I am grateful to a wide variety of people. Most of our gratitude questions, I think we had 6 from the questionnaire and 6 more that we wanted to test, and all of our group had extremely high level of gratitude. This we discussed last week. The average happiness of the world in a 1 to 10 scale is about 5.3, and our job today is to try and get it right to 10, if not even more than 10, through smiling 20 times every hour that we are awake, for whatever reason we find. Albert Camus, during World War II, said, in the depth of winter, I finally learned that within me there lay an invincible summer. So how do we find that summer within ourselves, no matter what the weather might be outside? That is, I believe,
our message from several thousands of years of learning about ourselves as human beings. The pharaohs built these pyramids to help them in the afterlife. And we want to contrast this around the same 5,000 years ago when the pyramids were built, is when the Siddhas talked about the inner journey and understanding ourselves at a deeper level. So that's where we are going to recognize some of the value built in through several amazing civilizations. And we talked about how the language Tamil has the body and the mind built in to the script of 247 alphabets, 18 மெய்யெழுத்துக்கள் and 12 உயிரெழுத்துக்கள். That's what it's made up of. குறுந்தொகை, written about 2000 years ago, says கடல் சூழ் மண்டிலம், கடல் சூழ்ந்த உலகம். The round earth is surrounded by oceans. This is what we had recognized 2000 years ago. And Galileo championed this heliocentrism with earth revolving around the sun in 1611. Sirubanatrupadai, about 2000 years ago, said, வாழ்நிற விசும்பின் கோள்மின் சூழ்ந்த இளங்கதிர் ஞாயிறு. The sun with tender rays that is surrounded by planets in the bright sky. So from the Indus Valley civilization period, similar understanding has been documented in the Indian subcontinent, especially in Tamil literature. I was able to find these references. This is a question I asked last time. Academic research with governmental funding to develop consciousness, I claimed, was started 5,000 years ago. And we'll see how we can see the evidence for it. This is the first Siddha about 10,000 years ago. And the word Siddha itself means perfecting ourselves. So the Siddhas were scientists, saints, doctors, alchemists, and mystics, all built into one. And Agathir is considered the first Tamil Siddhar. And he is supposed to have lived about 10,000 years ago. And this we discussed briefly, how whatever we know still falls within the top 10%. And in the subconscious is where we have so much potential for life in the form of gratitude, the form of creativity. And that's where we need to try to find more energy to move through our day-to-day life. So for that, we have a simple framework, connecting with being humble, being empathetic, connecting with our own goals, aspirations, and giving others the benefit of doubt and reciprocation. Just these 4 things gives us natural trust. Once we have the trust in ourselves, in our family, in our colleagues, moving through life becomes, I would say, 1,000 times easier. So for 2015, we started working with heart disease, then we started with fasting, and then Siddha consciousness. And now all of this comes under the umbrella of heartful living. And we want to see in this program whether we can say certain things that can withstand the test of time, that can be beyond any particular language, beyond wealth or influence, beyond a country, beyond a region. How can we get beyond all this and still be relevant? It has to be still scientific, effective, and meaningful for one and all across time and space. One such finding is the 1831 Beagle voyage that started in the UK, went across the entire world, stayed a bit in Galapagos, and this allowed in 1859 Darwin, after 25-30 years of that journey, to publish The Origin of Species. And this has now become accepted science of natural selection, where we have evolved from smaller life forms. 5,000 years ago, Tolkappiyam, which is now translated and easily available, I just had to Google this and find it in the internet. And I didn't not only find the Tamil Tolkappiyam, but I also found the English translation sentence by sentence. We don't need to go into too much detail, but this is what is available on Google, and this is the link for it. We'll share all this with you. But this is what Tolkappiyam says. evolution starts first with touch in plants, second with taste in shellfish, third is smell that evolved in termites, fourth was sight in crabs and beetles, fifth was hearing that is evident in beasts, and the sixth consciousness Tolkappiyam talks about is self-awareness, which is known in humans. So what the Western world recognizes as evolution, we have described with examples 5,000 years ago. And not only this, the discussion for next week, which is how we relate to the science of artificial intelligence, even that in a way they have described in giving us this insight. What they are saying in Tolkappiyam is just because we are born human does not give us that sixth sense. If we are indiscriminate, we are more akin to beasts. And again, the very interesting thing is there are, Tolkappiyam says, some animals that have the power of discrimination and they should be considered among humans. So this has been our understanding 5,000 years ago. This is before most modern religions were even described. So before that, this understanding had evolved. And when Tolkappiyam was written, they did not have the luxury of archaeology and tools and so many sophisticated genetic testing that we do to understand how specific genes have evolved through various life forms. So this is what I want you to think about. Superconsciousness, I feel, is not artificial intelligence. I feel it is Uvagai, which is extreme happiness or deep gratitude. And we will talk some more about it today and the next 2 weeks. So this is the most recent Tamil Sangagala literature, we say 2000 years ago. And Thiruvalluvar, he said, Inna Seidare Oruthal, Avar Nana Nannan Jaidu Vidal. That means the best lesson to those who have done evil to us is to show them real kindness. Mahatma Gandhi took this to heart, and that was the core principle of ahimsa or non-violence that Gandhi united India with and helped India become a free country in 1947. So these principles have been in the core of Indian philosophy throughout the last several thousand years. Bodhidharma, about 400 AD, he traveled to China to spread these Siddha concepts. He says the true nature is the Buddha, and the Buddha is free of plans and free of all cares. So that is the level of freedom he teaches. And he is credited with the Zen and Kung Fu having spread in China, Japan, and Korea. Recently, Ramana Maharishi is the person, Indian saint, who teaches about self-inquiry in very beautiful ways. He says, inquiry consists in retaining the mind in the self, and silence is the real teaching. So we practice that in the beginning of today's session for the first few minutes. So his question of who am I will destroy all other thoughts, and like the stick used for stirring the burning fire, it itself gets destroyed in the end. Then will arise self-realization. When asked, he says, desirelessness is wisdom in itself. The two are not different. Desirelessness is refraining from turning the mind towards any object. So this has been known again for several thousand years. And this is very similar to what you will see as the 8 stages of yoga. And in Tamil, what they say is self-restraint, kindness, the correct posture, understanding breathing, senses, focus, meditation, and finally samadhi, which means connecting with our true real origin. That's what the word means, samadhi, and that is final bliss. So all this does not, in the Tamil tradition, require any connection with any specific religion or God or anything beyond it. So that is the simple thing that I was able to use for the last 6 years here in Heartful Living clinics at our VA to help our heart patients. So I don't see any attachment to any religion here. And that is the beauty of the Siddha traditions. And when we say connecting with the body and the mind, this is what we mean. It can be done as tavam, which means sitting and meditating, and that takes extreme level of, I would say, self-restraint, and that takes much more evolution. But to learn dance, or to learn yoga postures, or to learn martial arts like Kung Fu, Adimurai is the basis of Kung Fu, and this is from our culture. So all these things are much easier to learn even in childhood. And that's how it has been taught for several thousand years as a way of deeper connection between the mind and the body, which can be attained through simple exercises, martial arts, and through dance. So self-inquiry is the science of higher consciousness that directly improves health while allowing us to celebrate life today. Obviously, it will help us live 100 years, but more importantly, it will help us be healthy and celebrate the moment. So for that, we've used the best in evidence-based cardiology, positive psychology, mindfulness, and Siddha techniques to bring to you these concepts. So now we call it High Life because it is being made available for all our veterans. And it started in 2015 as Heartful Living in-person series, and 2010, we said everybody can be encouraged to smile. So this is our simple beginnings. But the basis for this dates back 5,000, 10,000 years in Siddha tradition. And humans have been around for 300,000 years. So for us to say Homo sapiens and to claim that we are truly wise, what is this wisdom if we cannot feel the freedom and if we cannot celebrate today? Then we need to find it as soon as possible so that life becomes so much more meaningful in the moment. For me, this happened in 2018. This is my wife and daughter. We all went on a hike in Slovenia, and the tour guide jokingly said after 1 hour that I'm going to take you all the way to that peak that you see in the picture. And I pointed it out to him and said, is this what you're really expecting us to do? I don't think we are fit enough. But in the next 3-4 hours, we struggled with him and we reached it. And the view from there was amazing. More than the view, the physical exertion, the heart pounding, the sweating, all that is part of the experience. For instance, if we land there in a helicopter, we can have the exact same view. But the physical effort makes that experience something that I will remember all my life. So that was a younger me 3 years ago. But the thrill, I can just show it to you as a picture. But more than that, I want to share with you this friend that I made. He is the tour guide. His name is Timo. He was a chef who has been working for 15 hours a day for several generations in former Yugoslavia, which is now Slovenia. There is no religion. He has not yet been in an aeroplane, not because he's opposed to being in a plane. It's just so expensive for them. And he had no major savings at 28. And 4 months before he met me, he had lost his 4-month-old son for some congenital illness. And still, he found more meaning being a tour guide than by being a chef. So this is his outer reality, being a tour guide. But his inner reality was, with very little money, he felt very happy. That's who he was. He did not take food for granted. He says people just take food for granted. They buy food with money, so they don't understand the value of food. He himself, being so fit in his 20s, and he can run like 5 peaks like he took us up, that one day he can do 5 peaks. And he eats only 1 or 2 meals every day. And he wants to show people how to celebrate life. So that is his real life. He is, I believe, the first Siddhar that moved me. He does not know the word Siddha, but he does the inner journey. Anybody who does the inner journey is a Siddhar. So I'm so proud to have met him, and he transformed my life. So from the moment I met him, I started myself fasting, and that's been my personal journey. So he was a Siddhar by his inner nature. And 2 years later, he shared this picture with me, with his wife, and same wife, and 2 new children instead of the 1 child that he has lost. He has now been blessed with 2 children. He's doing very well now. I hope to go back and hike with him some more, maybe next year. So I leave you with these last few thoughts. This is a new puppy that we got for our 11-year-old daughter. So I compare our consciousness to the comfortable and safe puppy enjoying indoors and having a good life, food coming to him in his crib. But this safety that he is experiencing is okay. But if we choose, consciousness can be more. It can be new experiences with the horizon, with everything that we call life. But again, as long as we look at consciousness here in this Zoom conference or meeting, it is still a theory that we are trying to share. The real experience of consciousness is when he decides to move. The puppy experiences it not only in the mind or his thoughts, but in his movement. That is, I believe, the reality of life itself. So I will stop here with the Tamil greeting of Vanakkam. The word Vanakkam means I sense in my heart the goodness in you. So this is a deep level of recognition towards not only family or friends, but even to total strangers. We are able to, or at least by culture, this symbol has come through several thousand years, inviting us to find that confidence to say, yes, I see the goodness in total strangers. If we can get to that point where we can greet everybody with that level of optimism and confidence, then I believe our life has become so much happier and meaningful. So I will say Vanakkam, and when I say Vanakkam, I'm showing two hands coming together. So the two hands that come together, I feel, for our consciousness includes the two aspects, which is the body and the mind. For the body, it is little easier to exercise 30 minutes of brisk exercise every day, where our heart rate goes up to 70, 80% or 90%. And that type of physical exercise is all we are talking about, nothing more. It can be with ease experience. That means exercise awareness and smile experience. So a little step up to exercise is trying to think that you're only half your weight. That suggestion gives your body and your mind that much more relaxation during the exercise. On top of it, the invitation is for you to add a few more smiles during the exercise. So if you do that, you have that much more chance of entering into flow. We'll talk about it some more next week when we meet. And the body, when it enters into fasting and ketosis, I believe, again, it has a better chance of entering into not only flow, even recognizing deeper states of consciousness than is recognized through words or structures. And then when we come to the mind, we talk about ikigai, which is a Japanese term for finding meaning or purpose to wake up in the morning. There are books written on ikigai. You can just Google that. And then we talked about gratitude last week, and we've answered amazingly high in the scoring for our survey we did this week. So I want to congratulate our group on genuinely connecting with gratitude. It's not just saying thank you when you go shopping. It is feeling that gratitude and moving through gratitude. And then the invitation is for us to sacrifice a minute, half an hour, 30, 70 minutes, whatever you can in a week or in a day that you find that is within your capacity to do something that is genuinely kind and that will make somebody else feel more worthwhile and for them to feel that they can trust this world. So all these are at the mind level, and the silence, we can spend hours together on it. If you do any of these 8 things that we are talking about, I think all of this is different forms of silence or different forms of going beyond the logical, critical thinking and mental processes. So that is my way of sharing silence, inviting you within yourself. So that I believe is the simple, natural silence that will make us understand who we are at a much more profound way. All these things lead us to find Uvagai, which the word, Tamil word, translates into extreme happiness. So this word has been there in Tolkappiyam 5,000 years ago. What made those Siddhars extremely happy that they wanted to travel, risk their life on a horseback to go across countries to China and transmit these happiness messages? So that's what is the charm of Siddha consciousness. So I invite you into Uvagai. If you just Google Uvagai and say Paul Pepper or my name, you will see a recent 10-minute Paul Pepper Radio Friends talk that I gave. There are so many links that we can share with you for much more about these things that we are trying to spread. So I'll stop my slides discussion here, and we will open it up for questioning. Thanks so much for the patient audience.
Great. Thank you so much for that presentation, Dr. Chakalingam. If anyone has any questions, feel free to raise your hand, unmute yourself, or put it.
The first 5-10 minutes, we'll keep it very brief, quick suggestion, so that everybody gets a chance to say hi and say us a little bit, and then we can go a little more deeper. We have, I think, more than half an hour left.
So
Yes.
I have a, so Dr. Chakalingam, are you able to elaborate some on self-inquiry? How do we practice that?
This last slide that we showed, maybe I can show it again.
Dr. Chakalingam, please remember to hold your microphone up to your face. Yes, thank you.
So the question was, how do we perform self-inquiry? If I keep quiet, then I'm giving you the right answer. But if I keep quiet, then I don't get any answer out at all. So that is the challenge. But this slide, I believe, gives as close answer to that question as any that I know of. Do you see it as a full screen now?
Yes.
Okay. See, this self-inquiry means there is no effort in self-inquiry. That is the key thing to recognize. So we have to find happiness out of our inner energy. So that is self-inquiry. So that's why we start off saying smile 20 times an hour. When people are smiling, either the logical mind needs to attach to something that is pleasant and say, okay, that is why I'm smiling, or say I'm deliberately going to smile no matter what. So whichever way we choose, we are already connecting a little bit with our deeper energy, which is beyond our logical mind. So once we start feeling that little bit of, say, energy or fire or natural intuition within us, then starts that real inner journey. And that journey does not, that word journey itself is a misguiding, in the sense we are not journeying anywhere. How do we go inside us? We are already inside us in every possible way. So it is, in a way, letting go of our biases, of our thoughts. And when we talk about it, it becomes like, oh, how do I get rid of this thought, that thought? So all of this again becomes an effort. So the simplest way, I would say, in the last 5-6 years, most of our patients have identified with this program is by finding the trust within themselves to smile, to be grateful, and to connect genuinely with hunger. Once we are hungry, the body does, we are sort of holding our body down in with meditation. In the sense, for the body to go about and do fancy things in life, celebrate life, and say in Hawaii or go for a hike or anything, it needs energy, physical food. When we are fasting, the body has to find that energy within itself. So that's the same thing that the mind also has to do, to find that spark within itself. So in very, very simple tools, just like fasting and smiling and gratitude, we are practicing the inner journey. And beyond that, what else can we do once people have already done it? So I know so many of the people today have already done 12-hour, 20-hour fasting. And beyond that, my request will be to try this exercise with this ease component, which means thinking, then giving that suggestion to yourself that you're only half your weight and trying to continue to exercise 20 minutes, 30 minutes every day. That is a very, very deep mind-body method. And sitting quietly 10 minutes meditating, that's great. Based on whichever tradition, your beliefs in religion, you could try according to those systems what might help you. And connecting with flow, again, it's very intuitive and it's not very demanding. Next week, I'll bring some more information about how I believe several of our patients are entering into flow, just again with these simple tools of fasting and gratitude. And this ikigai, finding meaning, these things, I think our group is extremely evolved. The reason for that being, you are choosing to come to a program where you are able to connect that with abstract theories and understanding from different cultures about life and consciousness. So by choice, this is a group that wants to explore within. So that wanting itself is a self-inquiry. So I hope I've answered that aspect. Silence, if I go into it, we'll spend an hour on it. But the silence is not avoiding physical noise and outside loudness. It is finding that confidence. Yes, I'm having fun in life without any reason. I don't need an explanation or an excuse for me to enjoy today. That is what is the that is what silence will take you to recognizing. So that is the fun of silence. So I hope I answered Archana's question again with the same last slide, but we will continue to answer this question over the next few weeks in
Thank you.
with different tools.
Yeah.
Sandy and Ron Carter, did you have a question as well?
Yes, on some of the survey questions, I will admit I'm not a good question taker because I always want to say it depends. For instance, there was a question on feeling gratitude 1 or 2 times a week, and I put strongly disagree because I'm feeling it, constantly almost. It's really wonderful. And another question about feeling tired. Yes, we had just been on a vacation and we got to do some really exhilarating hiking and all. And it's tired sometimes. It's just a wonderful feeling. So I wanted to explain some answers.
You put this very beautifully. So this is self-inquiry in action. When you went up hiking, you were doing self-inquiry. Another word you said is, it depends how I answer your questions. Same thing I tell when 70-year-old patients come in the middle of a winter weather to attend our Heartful Living series at the VA. I tell them, what is the temperature outside is not dependent on what the weatherman is telling us. Even the outside temperature depends on our heart. If we choose that celebratory mindset, 363 days of the year we can enjoy. 1 or 2 days we still have to stay in when there is a hailstorm or tornado. We don't want to get out. But most of the weather in most parts of our natural world, we can celebrate. That comes from our inner energy. So that is why I again and again requested people to answer that survey before you heard these things from our participants and from me, that these surveys have very, very little meaning when you answer from the subconscious. Every answer you can give at the highest level, and who has to stand by that answer? Nobody, only us. So if we choose to say my day is great, can anyone come and tell you, no, you said that by mistake, your day is only moderate today? No, we can choose to celebrate our day. That is all this inner journey is about. And we have placed that last week slide. We showed one slide that says external learning. I can go to middle school, high school, then medical school, then cardiology. Now I'm a certified cardiologist. All that is because of years of training. But inner journey, there is no training. Tomorrow morning when I wake up, my inner journey score is 0. So if I want to be happy, I have to find it. And what I am seeing in the last so many years is every day I wake up with sufficient gratitude that my day is so happy. But things may not happen in the sense when I come to the car, it may have a flat tire. I may have lost this or found some issues that have to be fixed. But still that gratitude has been with me for so many years. And that so many of my patients in the last 6 years have found it despite their health challenges and disabilities. So that is why we are now finding the confidence to come and tell everybody, yes, it doesn't need any external support. This happiness is independent of anything we do. That is what we are finally trying to remind people.
Sometimes we find blessings in the middle of what other people might consider tragedies.
Yes. Do you want to say some more about what you just said?
Well, when I was 7, I developed polio, and that was in 1948. So I missed from August until April of school. And but when I came back, I was a couple months ahead of the other kids in school. Plus, the teacher we had that year was the worst teacher in the whole school. So I missed 7 months of teaching, but I came out ahead in my education. And this teacher would walk around with a ruler, and if she didn't like what somebody was doing or what they said, she'd rap them on the knuckles or on the head with the ruler. And so my head came out completely unscarred. And
See, this is a beautiful story you shared, but I want to share one quick message about these stories. See, our life, our memories are all bunch of stories, and we can actually rewrite the script. And you have done that. See, you had a real health issue that threatened everything, but then you have rewritten it so beautifully that you are able to share with everybody and make it so fun for all of us to listen to it. So that choice we have, when you share it with such amount of energy, you are also saying the same story to yourself. So all this choice we have. So today you can go back and rewrite some story that is a pain for you, or sadness, or something that's you wish had been different. You go back and you rewrite it in some beautiful way, and you can be the creator of your past, just like Sandy and Ron are today.
thank you.
Anand, a small comment.
Thanks so much for joining us, Dad. It's always a pleasure to hear you.
One small quick comment. If a person constantly meditates, what Anand has been telling, there is no need for any medication, even to the extent we can comment. We are all born with nothing. We are all going to live with nothing. Then when you are live, why you want everything? That is the reason why you get all problems. I'm not saying you don't need anything, but be happy with what you have. That will create your happiness within you. Why I'm saying that one most important thing is, please remember, we have been created by procreation, but constantly we can recreate ourselves by recreation. You are going to consider that everything in your existence is a recreation and joy. You will never get old at all. So consider everything is the happiness. That is what Anand is telling. Real sense, I don't meditate at all, to be very honest. But in simplest way, I made my life itself is a meditation. Once you feel like that, there is no question of aging, maybe chronologically. Biologically, you will become more and more younger too. I'm really happy that I can share with you all certain points. What it came in mind, please remember, silence is the best way of communication. What do you mean by the silence? Suppose Anand comes here, does not talk, he cannot communicate. It does not mean that silence you are going to, both external and internal, then only you can communicate yourself with the mind, body, and soul. Once you are connected, you are left only with happiness. That is what our inner inquiry and blissful state. Thank you very much, Anand and Jennifer.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. We would love to hear many people share their thoughts, how they are doing their inner journey, because this is just like the introduction, these 6 hours that we are going to spend together. But what you are doing last week, what you're planning to do this next week towards celebrating life, or any anything that I shared today, if you have any questions on the slides, or we can discuss. We'll keep the comments brief so that we want more people to definitely participate, share their thoughts with us today.
Another small comment on it, not that I want to tell often. When you show the symbol of Vanakkam, it has become globally accepted because of the COVID era. One must not shake hands. Vanakkam is the best way of greeting. That's what universally everyone is following. I think it's a culture that saying Vanakkam really means many things. I appreciate.
Very nice. Thank you for that. So, Anand, will it be healthy if someone is fasting every day, say 20 hours? Is that considered healthy or healthier way of living?
Nice question. The Western science, we have not yet done any studies for me to give you the evidence, but Siddha is the Tamil medical science that has been there for 5,000 years. And what they are saying is 2 meals a day may be sufficient for most people. In that one meal, each meal, they are suggesting 50% food, 25% water, and 25% just empty stomach. Like that, if you have 2 meals, most of us should do fine. Snacking is recommended against. No need for much of any snacking at all is what Siddha says. One meal, they say, is good for like Siddhars, people who are really evolved and who are not stressed, I would say, or beyond the routine ways of life. So could one meal be a way to get into a higher consciousness? It is possible, but I don't know as a doctor if I'm going to recommend that. But we have several patients in the last 5 years who I've requested them to not eat for 24 hours once a week. That's all I request. Other days, 14 hours, 6 days of the week. That means some 7 p.m. to 9 a.m. no food except water. And then once a week up to 18, 20, 24 hours. That's what we've been requesting our heart patients. But I have so many heart patients who've done this 5 days, 6 days, 6 days of the week. I have some patients who don't eat except once a day. So basically they just have a late lunch and that's it. And they've gone on for years. But these are people at a much older age where their requirement for energy is much lesser. I'm talking about 60, 70, 80-year-old people. And their physical exercise also is much lesser. And third thing is many of them are trying to intentionally lose weight. So for them, it may make sense to go to 1 meal a day. For others, I believe 2 meals for healthy people is reasonable. In that, if we can still find healthy foods, what will end up, when I say healthy food, what it does is it makes you hungry again soon. So that is the simple nature of healthy food. So it is okay to be hungry. It is actually healthy to be hungry. And I believe for most people, 2 meals a day is good.
Thank you.
We have a comment in the chat from Laura. She said, for myself, being in the present, even for a moment, helps me remember to practice gratitude. Grounding, noticing smells and sounds around me, etc., helps me with being in the present. Also breathing and brief meditation.
Beautiful, beautiful. So nicely said. Thank you.
We started doing something during the pandemic. My husband and I, every day, we found this somewhere. We didn't make it up. Write down our focus, something we're grateful for, and something we want to release. And we've been doing that since about January. And then we read it to each other, and it's really helped us.
Excellent. So you're not taking simple things for granted. Now you're deliberately paying attention to things that otherwise we might not pay sufficient attention. That's beautiful. Many people maintain gratitude diary, things like that. So this is different. Everybody we can find something that works for us. There are so many online tools nowadays. It can be done simply or with these online choices too. Excellent. People who haven't spoken to us yet, we want to hear from you.
We also have another comment in the chat from Georgia, and they said, to reduce stress, I have to get out of my head and into my heart. So dance, art, photography, etc. helps a lot.
That is exactly what we are saying, that many people have forgotten these simple things. And by the time they are heart patients, it's not easy for them to go dance and play sports and things like that. Art and photography is excellent. But as a cardiologist, I'm going to still invite many of my patients to try finding something that involves their body physically a few times a week. I'm not saying give up the art, give up the photography. I'm just requesting you to find something that involves the body also throughout life. But definitely all these are ways to connect deeper, celebrate. And that is the only place we get our meaning and happiness and fulfillment in life. The logical mind is there only to get us to do these things better. It is not able to even perceive that level of gratitude. It's not big enough. It is only 1,000th the size to perceive the gratitude. Whereas your inner consciousness or heart or intuition, it can understand the type of gratitude. And this group is amazing. I was honestly hoping we'll see a wider spectrum of answers. But when we asked those gratitude questions, the people who answered in the last 3-4 days, you answered such a high level of gratitude that I'm blessed to be part of this group.
There's also a question in the chat that says, how is sleep important to elevate consciousness?
I can tell you from personal experience. In springtime, I get some allergies and sinus issues. And when I'm not getting sufficient sleep, it is hard for me to do self-inquiry. In the morning, I'm groggy, tired, and worn out and wishing, oh my gosh, I wish this was Saturday instead it was Tuesday. I have to go to work. So we are all human. And for humans to perform, we need at least 7 hours of sleep. Children need more than 10 hours. So this is compromised by so many things. Simplest problem is electricity. This was found 100 years ago. Can we say we'll give up electricity? No, we cannot go back to our prior ways. Electricity is going to be part of our life. Same way these smart devices and the choices that come with them. Our ancestors were making 2 or 3 choices an hour. We are making 2 or 3 choices a minute because the device gives you so many alerts and this and that and options. So we get to make so many more choices. In fact, compared to 4 generations ago, I feel we need 2 extra hours of sleep to gain sufficient recovery, right? Instead, if we compromise on sleep, it definitely affects our physical performance of walking or thinking. If our job involves writing or anything, it becomes affected. But self-inquiry needs the highest level of clarity. For that, without sleep, there is no self-inquiry. Thanks for bringing that question. We need to feel energetic. I tell my wife, I keep talking about heartful living, this and that, but today morning I don't find it because when I'm not physically doing it, it might be just a simple thing like sinus allergies that woke me up 3 or 4 times in the middle of the night. That next morning, it's so much more challenging. So please make sure that you get enough sleep. And now we are starting to work with sleep specialists to figure out if we are going to choose to skip a meal for ketosis and health and inner journey, whether skipping dinner may make sense. So last 3 years that I've done this fasting, I've never skipped dinner because I'm afraid I don't want to miss sleep by being hungry. But the opposite may be true in the sense, if we go to bed hungry, the body and the mind may go to sleep sooner because we are not starving. We are not truly anxious. We know food is available any minute we choose. We just have to get up to the refrigerator, put it in the microwave. In a minute, we can have whatever food we want 24/7. That access we have. So that is the difference between starving and fasting. So if we can go to bed smiling despite having an empty stomach or feeling a little bit of hunger, I think our sleep will be even deeper. I haven't done the studies for it. 5 years from today, hopefully we will have found out for sure if that is the truth. by looking at sleep apnea patients, looking at the depth of their sleep, how much is REM sleep, how much is a non-REM sleep, and the patterns and quality and quantity of sleep we want to study. And the belief is, and I've heard a few of my friends who've done this tell me, yes, I'm sleeping better if I go with an empty stomach. So I want you to try it for yourself if it already makes sense for you.
We also have a question in the chat that says, is dropping blood sugar level a problem while fasting?
There are few things where we have to remember. Insulin requiring diabetics, type 1 diabetics, people with brittle diabetics, liver failure, eating disorders, bulimia, anorexia, and these are the main conditions where we don't recommend fasting at all, because we don't want health issues to get worsened. But a lot of type 2 diabetics that I've taken care of in the last 6 years have had no trouble with fasting, because they are on oral pills that they skip when they try to fast, and they do fine for a month or two. And then they go to their specialist or primary doctor and they show their sugar numbers, which are on the lower side, which is healthier. And the doctor then determines for them, you don't need that much anti-diabetic medicine. So it's a process of getting better. We are reversing the metabolic problems in diabetes by calorie restriction. All this is scientifically proven, but it is so challenging for us as doctors to prescribe, because we don't know minute to minute what your sugar levels are. That's why we start with the smiling and with the gratitude. That is also part of controlling diabetes, because we learned that through the inner journey, we learned deeper mind-body connection. There, even without measuring your sugar levels, you will know when it is okay to continue the fast, when your body will withstand it. When you learn that over the first few weeks, then slowly you might be able to de-escalate anti-diabetic medicines. But for most healthy people, majority of the world that is not on insulin, does not have advanced cirrhosis, if we go without food for 12, 14, 16 hours, it should not hurt us. 24 hours, it should not hurt us. Don't try it just because I said it. Give it slowly whenever it's not a busy day for you. Go for a little longer. And first 14 hours, try it for the first couple of weeks. 14 hours at night without any food, even diabetics should probably be able to do it. Okay? And then you can slowly work with this. This is a lifelong journey. There's no rush. There's no target that we are trying to attain. We are just learning ourselves at a deeper level, using our body also.
We have another comment in the chat. Mary Nagel said, to hear ideas of how to find gratitude when you are in the middle of a very challenging phase of life. Where to begin when there is little motivation?
I would think the biggest challenge is the little motivation.
It looks like Dr. Chakalingam.
So what I'm going to say is, the challenges that we face, we need to use as an opportunity to journey within. And once we look within, we will find not only the solution to the challenge, but we will find that our days are becoming brighter and more optimistic and happier. For that, these simple tools will be some sort of guidepost for you to keep moving forward as you journey within. So find that little motivation to smile 20 times. That's all I'm going to ask. The rest of it will happen by itself. All the other things are so natural and intuitive. Anand, why should I smile 20 times? If you're going to ask, then I don't know what to say. But try to smile, and then that smile will take you in the right direction.
I think we lost Peyton, and I think that might be why the video was so choppy. I think her connection is not so good, so our apologies. Yeah, there are some things we can't control, and I think just based on what Dr. Chakalingam was going to say, we'll just smile through it, but we gave you the link so you can watch it. Anything else for Dr. Chakalingam? We do have about 5 more minutes, Dr. Chakalingam.
People who haven't spoken so far, we'd like to hear from you. From India, from here. Many have said comments, so we went through your comments. And then later when Jennifer sends these videos, that's when I actually look at your comments, and that's been so positive. So I have to thank you from my heart for the last 2 weeks of such encouragement that you have given us. in this COVID world, in the Zoom meetings, it's not easy to actually see us and see what response or whether we are making sense. But in your comments, I've got so much good feedback. So thanks so much. Let's use the next few minutes to actually give live feedback to how we can make the next 2 weeks more fun. So as of this minute, I don't have a single slide for next Monday. I'm going to put it together. Do you like these slides, or do you don't need any more slides? Do we know the inner journey, what we do? Whatever works, you tell me, we'll make it happen the next 2 weeks. We want
Dr.
it to be fun.
Chockalingam,
Yes.
there are a couple comments.
Uh-huh.
Nancy and Ron say, what works for me is to think of even very small things, like I am thankful for hot water. And then it becomes easier to be thankful for everything.
Beautiful. We have to
And then
start
you have,
somewhere.
I'll have one more comment and then a question. How does that sound?
Super.
From Radha, my personal change in control of emotions is to look at issues from the other person's perspective. Our views change a lot and much harmony is created. And then a question from Shelley, how can you encourage others to have more gratitude?
Through smiling. There is no way anybody can keep smiling through the day unless we have that much gratitude in our heart. Honestly, otherwise we'll think it's not possible. But with sufficient gratitude, we don't even need to smile. That smile becomes part of who we are. It will be one person stopped me in the corridor and said, I don't want to smile like you say 20 times. Why don't I just keep that one smile all hour long? That is even better. We don't need 20 smiles if we can keep the smile going through the hour. So that much of gratitude is possible. How do I say that? Because you answered like that in this survey that you answered the last 2 days, that you are so grateful for your friends, for your life, for so many deeper aspects of your consciousness. So that gratitude is going to move you forward with so much more meaning and fun in life. So that's what I perceive about our amazing group. So this comment about looking at emotions from others' perspectives, that is so beautifully said. It's so challenging for many people because they don't, first of all, understand their own perspective to start with. But to give the other the benefit of doubt, that's that reciprocation we talk about in Heartful Living. It makes everything so much more free and easy to connect with others. Once we recognize, okay, this is their viewpoint, that's all. We don't have to take it personal or get worried about it. We just have to say that's what they are. And she put it so beautifully. I don't need to say any more about it. Thanks so much. And the last question in the comments I'm seeing is, I get bored meditating. What should I do? My dad beautifully said, he doesn't meditate ever, but every morning he has not shared yet. He gets up at 5:30 to 8:30. He is walking outdoors. Despite the pandemic, he'll wear his mask, I hope, in India, and he does his exercise. For 3 hours, he knows as a cardiologist, he needs only 30 minutes, but he gets 2-3 hours. Why don't you say that? Why are you bored about meditating? And how do you find that inner happiness? Because you exercise, and you told me so many times when we talk on the phone.
I personally feel that everything what I visualize is I'm enjoying. Whatever thing, even somebody is going to scold at me, I really enjoy that. So if we are going to take it up like that, there is nothing that will hurt me at all. The moment if I start walking, I'm really addicted to that. The reason is, whatever thing Anand has said, in the moment if we are going to meditate, and Dr. Chelvi is asking about sleep, please remember, sleep is the best meditation one can ever have. Just going to sleep, just meditate for 2 minutes, to have 7 hours of meditation, that is your sleep itself. So once you are addicted to that, to be very honest, Anand, when I'm walking, I'm enjoying, endorphin is secreted. Once I'm addicted to endorphin, I don't want to leave the endorphins, I'm going to keep walking. Maybe that does not mean I want to live more than 100 years, but as we have been stressing, I want to be healthy and I want to be useful to our society. That's all very simple. So start enjoying, that is all I can suggest.
See, as a cardiologist, he's saying he's addicted to exercise. So that, I believe, is a different way of expressing that flow phenomenon. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi wrote a beautiful book on it. It's right here. It was written in 1975. And this book talks about how to get into flow while you play competitive tennis or write music. But so many of our patients do this while they do their dishes or go fishing, or like my dad describes, just walking. He doesn't run or compete. He just walks in the morning for 2 hours, 3 hours, and he comes home so happy. So that is that flow. And we can all engage in it through our day-to-day living. And my dad is healthy enough to walk. I'm saying we can even do that for heart failure patients who can't even breathe. For them, just by being hungry, with a smile, with gratitude, with that fasting, we say we can enter into flow. So next Monday, we'll share some more information about this same point, how flow can be practically reached while doing nothing, basically just sitting in our spot. And that I did not claim even possible. Only my patients showed me, doctor, this system, this hunger gratitude we talk about in our Heartful Living series, that is truly a flow phenomenon. Just like my dad describes walking, heart failure patients are able to connect. Just by lying in their hospital bed, they're able to connect at a deeper level. Priya, Selvi was here. You want to say quick something before we close up? It's already getting close to time. Anybody? Cody is here, but a lot of times Cody does not have a mic. Can you talk, Cody? Say hi to our group. I guess he doesn't have, he's at the VA.
Hi, everyone. Hi, good morning to all of you in the US. It was an excellent presentation, Anna. Thank you so much for that. And I really enjoyed taking the questionnaire. It was simple, it was easy to respond, and I somehow thought it helped me to reflect on how things have been, particularly during this pandemic, and in spite of the pandemic, how many things we still have to be grateful for. And it was nice to see it in the form of questions and to respond to that, and during that process to self-reflect as well. Thanks for that. And looking forward to next week. Yeah, so the slides are great, but I also really enjoy the discussion part of it, because everyone is sharing their their experiences, and it adds so much value to this group itself. Thank you. Thanks for that. Take care, everyone.
Wonderful. Thanks, Priya. Is Selvi still around? No? Anybody else who hasn't said hi to us before we close off? Last couple of minutes.
Dr. Chucklingam, this is Cody. I forgot that I had brought a headset thing in, so I would be able to participate.
Can we also see you, or you don't have a video?
Yeah, I don't have a camera.
Oh, okay. Why don't you introduce yourself, Cody, to our group? Talk to us for a minute or two.
My name's Cody Murphy. I'm the home-based cardiac rehab coordinator at Truman VA Hospital. Been following Dr. Chucklingam for a while now. Love his presentations. Love the concepts that he brings to the table, and I appreciate these groups that he's been able to put together.
Thanks for joining us, Cody.
Okay, you're getting some notes of thanks, and also, yeah, a little bit more information there about liking the quotes and their relevance. So please read those, Dr. Chucklingam. With that, I think we have come to the end of our time. Is there anything else to cover before we say goodbye and see everyone next week for session 3?
So next week when we meet, my request to all of us every day is to obviously smile 20 times, but also to try connecting with new things that are safe and fun. And it's summer, so hopefully you will get out and do some more fun stuff that involves you getting short of breath, tired and fatigued. So don't push your limit, but learn how your body can be used in this experience of deeper consciousness. That is going to be my request. So my other way of saying it is try something that you've not routinely been doing so far. So only when we experiment with new things, then we can connect at a deeper level. Thanks so much, Jennifer. Thanks, Dad, for joining from India. Thanks all of you for being with us today. We'll see you next Monday, same time.
Bye, and thanks, Peyton, too. Bye, everyone. We'll see you on Monday.
Jennifer, why don't you share your phone number? I would like to have your contact number, right? I asked Anand also, Peyton and Jennifer, we will get communicated.
Yeah, I'll give you the Osher number. Is that good?
Yes, phone
Okay.
number of contact number too, if you want, if you can.
That is the number for the Osher program. Yeah, but we can email to Dr. Chuckalingam, okay?
You are really doing a very great job, Jennifer. Yourself, Peyton, with Anand. I think world will wake up for the betterment of future. Thank you.
Well, thank you for saying so. This is a joy to host, and thanks for Peyton also. She's our intern and she's done a great job this time. I'm sorry, yeah, Peyton, her connection was not so great for the video, but those are things we deal with sometimes with Zoom. But anyway.
Thank you. So Jennifer, thank you so much. And how can we access these slides? Or
Yes. We talked about that last time, but I want to, yeah, if you just Google Osher and Missouri, MISSOURI, it'll take you to our main webpage. And let me share my screen. For those of you who would want to see this, please stick around for just this. Will just take me a minute to show you, because it's just as simple as Googling, but getting to the right place. So I'm happy to show you. If I just go to Google and put in Osher, Missouri, excuse me, we're a program of MU Extension, so it'll almost always be the top item. You're just getting to this longer URL. It's kind of a longer one, but that is it. You'll see the suns and the teal background, at least if you're joining us for summer. If you summer semester, if you click on Learn More, that takes you to an overview of our semester. You see here's the Elevating Consciousness, and you can see all the classes that we're offering at Osher. Our goal is to keep brains active as we age. But this is the place, the second bullet, summer semester event website. So just by Googling, you can get to this page, and this takes you to all of the relevant pages for the summer semester. The place I'd like to direct you to is the current summer documents page. There's some general program information, including you can read about the classes. I'll just show you if you click on by day of the week, and then Monday, you can read all about Dr. Chuckalingam's plans for teaching this class. So here we are. I realized that you rewrote the title, Dr. Chuckalingam, but that's the original. And then next week, Elevating Consciousness in 3 Easy Steps. But then back up to this current summer documents page. That's where we share information from Dr. Chuckalingam and for the other classes. And you'll see that that's where you can find, we'll put the session 2 recording after this one ends. So I think it is simple once you understand where to go, but I understand that it's a few pages, so it does help to show. So if you ever have questions, we are at Osher. Let me write this in. Osher@missouri.edu. That's our email, and that goes to both to all the staff, so we can answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad you asked. It does take a little bit to show you, but that's, and again, we can always repeat that if you email us, so.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks
Thank you for all
everyone.
you do.
Oh, thank you for joining us. Again, it's a joy to host these classes. Dr. Chuckalingam, thank you so much, both of you. And is your wife here today? Dr. V. Chuckalingam, is your wife here today?
She was with me. She is busy with another one meeting.
Because she's another Dr. Chuckalingam, so
Yeah, she's a-
I want to be
she's a
cognizant of
pathologist.
all the
She's a
Drs.
pathologist.
Chuckalingam. So wonderful.
But-
Okay, well, we'll look forward to seeing everyone next week. Thank you so much.
We will. Thank you. Thank you very
Bye.
much, Jennifer.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.